And we're following major breaking news as we come on the air tonight. San Antonio's mayor calling it a horrific human tragedy unfolding here in the city this evening. Within the last hour, we learned 46 people are dead in an incident with an 18-wheeler in southwest San Antonio. 16 others have been rushed to the hospital. 4 of them are pediatric patients. The other 12 are men and women. The fire chief says their injuries are from the heat. 3 people are in custody now as federal authorities investigate. The scene is on Quintana Road near Cason Drive. That's located near Loop 410 and I-35. Tonight, our team of KENS 5 reporters tracking it all for you tonight, from the hospitals to those helping survivors, and then reaction to this tragedy. But first, we want to bring in KENS 5 reporter Matt Houston, who's live on what is still a very active scene, Matt. And I understand a news conference just wrapped up with officials, and this investigation, Matt, just beginning tonight.
Isis, you're right about that. Just in the last half hour or so, we got these broad updates about what exactly happened today. As you mentioned, we know that 3 people are in custody that police believe are connected to all of this. Chief William McManus with San Antonio Police tells us he believes there could be more people out in the woods right now. They'll bring a crew of dogs out to help tomorrow to search in the daylight. We know around 6 o'clock, a nearby worker heard a call for help. That person discovered the truck trailer with the doors propped open. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood tells us some people inside were simply too weak to get out. Ambulances rushed 16 people to local hospitals, including 4 children. All of them had symptoms related to heat stroke or heat exhaustion. It doesn't appear the AC was working inside the truck or that there was any water available to the riders, but Chief Hood expressed optimism each of those 16 would survive. He said he believes the 46 dead are all adults, no children. If this is indeed a human smuggling case, we believe it would be the deadliest such event in American history, at least on record. Here's how Mayor Ron Nirenberg put that into context.
The plight of migrants seeking refuge is always a humanitarian crisis, but tonight we are dealing with a horrific human tragedy. So I would urge you all to think compassionately and pray for the deceased, the ailing, the families, and we hope that those responsible for putting these people in such humane conditions are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Homeland Security is now leading this investigation. Again, it's not clear how many people were in the truck, but we know that 46 are dead and 16 injured, so at least 62 people crammed into the back of an 18-wheeler. I'm Matt Houston, KENS 5.
Matt, thank you. Continuing our team coverage now, let's bring in KENS 5 anchor Henry Ramos, who joins us live from the scene. And Henry, I understand you spoke to neighbors.
I did, Isis, and for context, I'm on the opposite side, just down the street from my colleague Matt right now. I can tell you just within the last minutes or so, more law enforcement officials are still arriving here on scene, though it is difficult, as you can see right behind me, but that trailer is just right back down this way on this street. In fact, here's more officials arriving here. They'll be passing me here shortly as this vehicle moves. For context, though, this is very much a rural area on the southwest side. There's not really a lot of homes. There are people who do live out in this area, but it's more a lot of businesses. I do apologize because there is a train next to me that's passing, so it may be difficult to hear me. But yes, Isis, when I was just arriving here on scene, just a lot of people actually showing up because they were watching the news, getting the updates, hearing the choppers, seeing more law enforcement officials arriving. They wanted to know what was going on. In fact, I spoke to Irene Duran. She wanted to show up here and just take a listen to our conversation.
And to come and die, that's terrible. I'm in shock. I feel sorry for the people. I really do. I didn't realize it was that many people. I just hope it's nobody we know.
You afraid it could be?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So I hope not.
You know, and I think the aspect of this is the humanity part, the human toll. I mean, as a lot of people, it's hard to sit here and think about when you hear that 62 people were inside a trailer, 46 of them did not make it, did not survive. And then those that did, some of those pediatric patients dealing with heat injuries. You know, officials saying there was no water inside. It was an AC trailer, but the AC wasn't working. And so you can just imagine the conditions that these people were inside, and also difficult for that worker too who made that gruesome discovery and opening that trailer and finding those bodies just stacked. I mean, it really is difficult, but just a lot of heartache out here, ECs, for the people that do live here on the southwest side, right here on Quintana Road. ECs?
Thank you, Henry. And tonight, Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Sier is sending his prayers. He had this to say in a tweet tonight, quote, "Our prayers raise up to you, O Lord, for their souls. Lord, have mercy on them. They hope for a better life. Lord, after Uvalde and now this, help us. We need you. So many people suffering. God, God, God," end quote. We are joined now by KENS 5 reporter Sue Kalberg, live at Baptist Medical Center, where 5 patients are being treated tonight. Sue, what are you learning?
Well, I can tell you that when I got here to downtown Baptist Medical Center on Dallas, the race to save those lives was on. Those paramedics were focused. They were moving fast. They were running around, moving gear, working to decontaminate their units in case they needed to go back out. Hospital officials here said they did receive 5 patients, but one of those medics told me that they had been on scene down there, and he described the situation as something unlike anything he had ever seen before, with the bodies lined up along the road. He said, in fact, that it was like a horror movie. Now, let me run down the list of injured and where they are and what we know so far. We're still gathering details. What we know so far is that there are 5 people here at Baptist listed in critical condition. Around the corner down the street at Metropolitan Methodist, there are 3 people that are listed in stable condition. Now, stable, it could be critical, it could be something else. It just means that their condition is not changing at this time. 2 people we have confirmed are at Texas Vista in critical condition. Now, that's on the south side, very near the scene where all this happened. It's what you and I, as old timers, would call Southwest General. 2 people critical there, 2 at University Hospital. If you do the math, that's 12 people. So obviously they said there were 16, so we're still trying to gather facts about where these other people are and their conditions and how that may change during the overnight hours. One final note, we heard the Catholic Charities people say that they would provide aid and comfort to the survivors and help them. Physically here, we haven't seen any of that action yet, but the night is still young and these people will be needing help for the foreseeable future. Live downtown, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Thank you, Sue. Now let's continue our team coverage tonight with KENS 5 reporter Nicole Kahn. Nicole?
He sees so many people here in our community are having broken hearts for a second time. This coming just about a month after the school shooting in Uvalde. Many people from the community, once they heard about what was going on down here, came down and they told me they were just saddened. They were unbelievable that there were so many deaths here, that this was a tragedy of such a great magnitude. I talked to one man who lives close to here, and he tells me he is also a driver of an 18-wheeler. He says he's just in shock tonight. He can't believe it. He says it's a miracle that there were any survivors at all, because with the intense heat we've been having, being in an unair-conditioned truck rather, with no water, he says it's just difficult to survive those conditions. He gives us an idea of what the people inside of that truck faced.
I just can't understand how these people accept just to make some money, except to put somebody. I never will do that, not even with air conditioning inside, you know. But trailers like that without AC, it's gonna get a lease. If it's 100 outside, it goes for about 125 degrees inside without water, without air, without nothing. It's ridiculous. I just can't understand how drivers can do that.
The word that I've heard the most tonight, the word on everyone's lips, is tragedy. People telling me that they're having such trouble trying to wrap their heads around about how other people can treat other humans like this. I spoke with one man who said he doesn't have a fix for the problem, he doesn't know how to solve it, but he said that as a society we need to be able to place a higher value on human life. Reporting live on the Southwest Side, Nicole Kahn, KEN 5.
Thank you, Nicole. Now, this isn't the first time something like this has happened in San Antonio. In 2017, 10 people died after being locked in a semi-truck trailer. The discovery was made at a Walmart parking lot on the south side when an employee was approached by a migrant who asked for water. The driver of that semi, James Matthew Bradley, received life in prison without parole. Texas lawmakers reacting to tonight's tragedy. Governor Greg Abbott tweeted about an hour ago. Abbott says, quote, "These deaths are on Biden. They are a result of his deadly open border policies. They show the deadly consequences of his refusal to enforce the law," end quote. Meantime, Congressman Henry Cuellar says the victims died after driving through the Laredo checkpoint. He tweeted within the last hour, quote, "We must bring an end to these senseless deaths and hold those responsible accountable. Let us pray for the families of the deceased. May they rest in peace," end quote. Joaquin Castro also sending his prayers tonight, saying, quote, "The tragedy in San Antonio tonight, the loss of life, is horrific. My prayers are with the victims, their families, and the survivors being treated in our community. May God bless them. We must end Title 42, which has put desperate, oppressed people in grave danger of death," end quote. And here's another live look at the scene where multiple people, again, were found dead inside a tractor trailer. 46 people tonight. We'll continue to bring you the latest information in the next 2 minutes. We'll be right back.